Greetings, champion, and welcome to the world of Argos. Hi everyone, Cosmic here of Six Sages Gaming, and welcome back to another trading card game overview video. Today we're going to be talking about Argent Saga, the new trading card game coming out from Alter Reality Games later on this year in the fall, slated for a August 1st release, so right before Gen Con. I wanted to put this video together today for you to talk about the general overview, including what is a win condition, how do you build a deck, and we're going to have some general gameplay stuff to go over as well. But on this first part, we're just going to carry the overview here, which is you are a champion with a spirit companion fighting for the realm of Argos and fighting over these towers. Now, without spending too much time here, we'll go ahead and get right into the win conditions. So, yes, there are 5 towers, as were beautifully illustrated on the back of the card itself. And anyone who is familiar with Duel Masters or Kaijudo, yes, these are basically your shields, which do have on burst effects. So you get the advantage of knowing what these are. So it's going to be the 5 different towers of power here, so one for each color, versus in those other games where you have to deal with shield burst and maybe some unknown mechanics. So automatically I like this off the bat because it does give you that information going into the game saying, okay, I know that there's only, let's say, a red tower left, so when I break it, it's going to destroy something, and you have that information. I'm sure later on there will be more towers down the road or just different effects, but I don't believe anything is confirmed at this time. So how do you win? You have 5 towers. You attack through them. As you attack them, they break individually, just like Shield Burst in Kaijudo, or Shield Blast rather. And then you attack with one more time undefended and directly at your opponent, and you win. With this, if you also draw more cards than you have left in your deck, you lose the game. So this is a very common secondary condition that you need to be wary of if you are a control deck and wanting to draw a lot of cards. But yes, overall, you will notice that this carries a lot of that same feel from, again, Duel Masters or Kaijudo primarily. For our deck building, we have 1 champion card, 1 spirit card, 1 of each of the 5 towers, which I'd mentioned, a 10 card shard deck, and a main deck of 40-60 cards. So yes, there is a maximum of 60 cards that's being enforced here. We'll get into this a little bit later on in the intro deck videos, which we're going to do as well. But the champion card, for anyone that's played perhaps Force of Will, Dragon Ball Super, or even, of course, EDH and Magic, you're going to be very familiar with this theme, right? You have a champion, in this case with Argent Saga, that is going to act as your, well, champion, your leader, if you will. So it's the one card that represents you in battle. What's interesting is the Spirit card, which, again, we'll cover here in a second and just a little bit later in a future video. It acts as really your secondary color for the deck. It has this affinity number in the top left corner, which basically says, for example, if I have a light champion and I have a red spirit, or the fire spirit in this case, it has a number 8 in the top left corner, which you'll see in a future video. I just know that it's on this card based on current spoilers, meaning you can have up to 8 fire cards of, any variety, if you will, in your deck. Now, it's worth noting here that there are cards that are marked as legendary, which you can only have 1 of. So keep that in mind as you're building these decks. And there are going to be neutrals as well, but we're going to talk about that a little bit later. For our card types, we have champions. I mentioned that these are going to be your leaders. They start in play. They have various effects which are going to come in handy over the course of the game. Your spirits, as I mentioned. So this would be a good case if you have this fire champion and this water spirit. It means you could have a fire deck and then splash, if you will, or have extra copies of 8 water cards in your deck. So you have, again, between 40 and 60 cards in the deck. 8 of those could be water. Now, of course, later on, I would expect that this number can either increase or decrease based on the spirit effect, but it seems as of, at least of today, all the spirits do have that commonality of 8. So for the first set, I would expect it to stay that same, right? Just easy to balance in that regard. And then maybe in future sets, we'll see it change based on the various effects that it might have. Shards is what's going to be your resource in this game. What I really love about this is that each player gets a shard every turn for free. So if you've played Hearthstone, or really most online digital card games at this point, it's a very forgiving resource system. You can't miss land drops. You can't worry, rather you don't have to worry about, your different colors. It's a flat resource. You have access to it, and you're gaining one every single turn. So no matter what, you're able to play this game where you're drawing cards, you have options, you always get to do something. And I think that's really important in a new trading card game, that no one feels, it's a big negative for Magic these days, but, getting stuck on lands, or too many lands, too few lands, not drawing the right combination of cards can really create an unfun experience. And that's something I've absolutely loved about newer trading card games coming out, is that you never really get stuck. Towers, we've mentioned the object, destroy all 5, then attack your opponent one more turn. Your units, these are going to be the things that you're putting into play, right? It's your creatures, it's your monsters, things of that nature, something that's going to stick in the battlefield and be able to attack your opponent. Spells, well, as the name would suggest, these are going to be one-time effects that you use it and it gets removed. And then augments. These are really like enchantments in Magic. It's something that sticks out there. It's going to give you a continuous boost and buff your team, or give you extra effects. At the time of recording this, none of these have been spoiled yet, if I remember off the top of my head. So it's really going to be curious how these play out later on down the road. For your leisure, if you will, I won't read through all these now, but on the right-hand side there, you also have the keywords, which you can get an idea of some of the things that we can expect to see in the first set. What I really do love, which we'll get to, it seems to be a mostly water card trait, is shard drain. So return one of your shards to the bottom of your shard deck. So right, we had mentioned that you get one for free absolutely every single turn. Shard drain appears to be a cost to your cards, where it says you get a really powerful effect if you put one of your shards basically back into the shard deck itself. So if you're on 6, you use the effect, you go down to 5 shards, but on the very next turn you go back up to 6, maybe you use it again. So right, there's a lot of extra layers of strategy, or really card design, that they're opening up by having this resource. And it's really going to be interesting to see where these cards line up down the road, and what does shard drain really look like. Are we going to have a shard drain for, say, 5, right, and have some very strong effect? Now again, if it's sending you back 5 shards, it has to be, a game-ending effect in that regard, right? So I'm really looking forward to seeing where this one ends up. Now for playing Argent Saga, as always, I'm going to be doing a review of how to play itself. So we'll have the intro decks very soon, and I'll be covering each one of them. I'll probably try to do, 8 or 9 different videos, just all the different matchups where we're playing the game, we're talking through the turns, we're, helping everyone understand, okay, this is the tower, it flipped over, this is what happens when a tower flips over. So if you're looking for a more detailed video, please look forward to that in the future. I will be going over all the different deck combinations and having a lot of fun with it here very soon, but I really want to include this information in this video just for you to maybe pause, take a moment, read this over. And again, if you've played either Kaijudo, Duel Masters, or Force of Will, which this game really takes its key inspiration from those 3 games, a lot of this is going to sound really familiar. And it's something that I love. And also actually Dragon Ball Super has taken this in some part, if I remember correctly. I really love this free flow main phase, if you will, right? You have this opportunity to play something, attack with something, play something again, attack again, do something else, attack again with something else that just came into play. It has this much more free form battle style, which I really love, because there's so much more strategy that can be baked into it, which you might not always have an opportunity in, say, Magic, where it's just all one linear combat phase, everything attacks, everything blocks, and those 2 steps, and you move on. So I won't go through this now, but as you have it, there is the overall of how to play Argent Saga. Again, look forward to this in another video very soon. The last couple things I wanted to talk about here are the release date, which I mentioned up front, August 1st, and also what to expect in both the intro decks, which we will be having a Kickstarter, or we will be getting more information on the Kickstarter very soon, which I'm sure ARG will do a video on, and I'm sure I'll cover at least some point. They will have the intro decks, and I believe there's going to be certain packages for retailers. So if your local game shop has heard about this, or if they're interested in it, let them know about the Kickstarter, because it's probably going to be the best way for them to get into the game. But then also, I really love how we have this clear breakdown of, okay, what is in the booster set 1, which is called Betrayal, and what does each booster box include? Now, I did want to mention here kind of right away is this little thing called Argent Rares. This is something that if you look at the box breakdown, and if you know that play sets are 3-ofs in a deck, you might be going, hold up, there's only 2 Argent Rares in a box. That is insane. Why? How are they making this, feasible for us to be able to get a play set? Well, the truth is, with Argent Rares, they are going to be just singletons that are allowed in the deck. So as you're opening up your booster box, maybe you'll get a blue and a red Argent Rare, let's just say, and maybe you want both the green ones, then you can just trade 1 for 1 with either a friend or someone else you know. Now, of course, this is a trading card game, and not all things will be equal in terms of value, but it gives you at least an idea very early on how you might be able to trade for different cards or kind of what to be looking for. It's also worth noting that they reference a God Pack. I don't believe that was confirmed at the time of recording this, that at least anywhere that I could see. But generally speaking, for those that don't know, a God Pack would be something like opening up all the, for other card games, a booster pack full of super rares. In this case, they might do like a split where it's X amount of Argent Rares and X amount of super rares. I know Force Will has done that in the past. Actually, Dragon Ball has as well. There's a few different ways that they could do this, and it's really going to be interesting to see which way it goes. So I'm looking forward to hearing more about that. Also, you'll notice that the serial number cards are referenced here, but we don't have any more information at this time, unfortunately. My personal hope for this is that it's going to be something very close to what Bushiroad has done. The most recent example would be Phantom Blaster Dragon. It had this really sweet print. It had the serial number like stamped onto it, and it just absolutely looked amazing for a card. Now, of course, they're going for like, I think it was like $400 or something ridiculous. So because we have way more serial cards that are being numbered here, I don't think that's going to be the case, but I'm sure that if people get a certain number that they're interested in, or if there's going to be just a series of numbers that are very popular, I'm sure you guys listening to this can imagine a few that might sell for extra. I'm sure if you open those, you're going to feel pretty great about it. So with that, we have our overview of Argent Saga complete. And of course, the question here at the end, does your local game shop carry new games? The reason why this is so important, right? With all the changes that Wizards of the Coast is making, a lot of shops can be a little bit weary of getting into any new games. We don't know what the support is going to be like, but I think the most important thing here to remember is that it's Ultra Reality Games at the end of the day. This isn't a new company coming in trying to produce a trading card game. This is one that has been around for as long as I've been following games, much longer than I can probably care to be playing games. They've done a tournament scene all across North America, or I should just say the United States. I don't think they've made it up to Canada to be technically correct, but they've made it as far as California. They're based out of Ohio, so they absolutely put in the work to get amazing events out across the country. So if you haven't been to an Ultra Reality Games Circuit Series event, I very strongly recommend talking to your friends, seeing what they say about it, and then also looking up the prize structure that they offered for this game. It's also worth noting that there is going to be a $10,000 intro deck tournament at their ARG Invitational. More information for that will be found on their website, ultrarealitygames.com, if you're looking for it. Or if you haven't already, I'd very strongly recommend joining the Facebook group. It's just called Argent Saga. You can look it up. You'll find it that way. And all the information that you could ask for is going to be located there. Lastly, if you are in Michigan, I will be looking for stores that are going to be willing to put on demo days, completely free. It's all on my own time, my own money, energy, resource, what have you. I just want to get out there and demo this game to more people. If you've been following this channel for a while, you know that Duel Masters / Kaijudo is very near and dear to my heart, and that is why I am so excited for this game personally, and I really hope it does deliver on all fronts. From what I hear so far, it's great with the intro decks, but I'm very curious to see what the full set is going to look like. So if you guys are looking forward to more Argent Saga videos, please do let me know. Let me know what type of content that you want to see in the future. Of course, I'll probably be doing a lot of things I've done for games like Final Fantasy Trading Card Game or Force of Will in the past, but we can definitely approach this new game together and see how it grows. So that's all I have for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next Six Sages Gaming video. See ya.